My sister said it like I was at fault. You're destroying my dreams after I refused to let her use my home office as her creative space. So I told her your dreams shouldn't require someone else's house. Here I am at 2 a.m., sitting in what might not be my office much longer, trying to figure out if I'm being unreasonable or if my family has completely lost it. Let me give you some background. I'm James, 32, and I work as a senior software architect for a tech company. I've been fully remote since 2020. And when I bought my house 2 years ago, one of the main selling points was the perfect home office setup. It's a dedicated room with built-in shelving, excellent natural light, and most importantly, it's soundproofed because I'm on calls with international clients constantly. My younger sister, Emily, is 25 and just graduated with a degree in graphic design. She's been living with our parents since graduation 6 months ago, claiming she needs time to build her portfolio before getting a real job. I love my sister, but she's always been the baby of the family, and my mother, Patricia, has never been able to say no to her. Last week, my mother called me with what she presented as a family emergency. Emily apparently can't stand living at home anymore because our parents' house is stifling her creativity. But here's the thing, she can't afford her own place because she's not actually working. She does maybe one freelance project a month and spends the rest of her time on personal art projects that she posts on Instagram. My mother's solution: I should convert my home office into a bedroom for Emily. Her exact words were, "Family supports family. James, your sister needs a stable environment to build her career, and you have that whole big house to yourself. Surely you can work from the kitchen table for a few months while she gets on her feet." The kitchen table. The woman wants me to conduct international business meetings from my kitchen table. When I tried to explain that my office isn't just a luxury, but a necessity for my job, she hit me with, "You did fine working from your apartment before. This is just temporary. Emily needs this chance to flourish, and as her big brother, you should want to help her succeed." I suggested alternatives. Could Emily get a part-time job to afford a room somewhere that would distract from her portfolio building? Could she stay in the guest room, but I keep my office? The guest room doesn't have good light for her art, and she needs the built-in shelving for her supplies. Could our parents help her with rent somewhere? We're saving for retirement, James. You make good money. This won't hurt you. The kicker is that Emily hasn't even asked me directly. Everything is coming through our mother, who called me 3 more times this week with increasingly guilt-laden arguments about how I'm abandoning family and being selfish with my success. My dad, Robert, surprisingly took my side privately, calling me yesterday to say he thinks it's ridiculous. But he also said, "You know how your mother is when Emily's involved. Sometimes it's easier to just go along." I work 50 to 60 hours a week. I have client calls at all hours due to time zones. My home office isn't just where I work. It's where I've built my entire professional life. I have thousands of dollars in equipment set up exactly how I need it. The thought of dismantling all of that so my sister can avoid getting a job makes my blood boil. But am I being selfish? I do make good money. I could theoretically work from elsewhere in the house. Family is supposed to help family, but where does it end? How long is temporary, and why is it always on me to make sacrifices for Emily? I'm supposed to give my mother an answer by the end of the week. Part of me wants to say yes just to keep the peace, but another part of me is tired of always being the one who has to be responsible and understanding. What would you do? Update 1 posted 2 weeks later. Well, I gave in. I know. Many of you told me to stand firm, and I tried, but the family pressure became unbearable. My mother called my Aunt Linda, who called me crying about how family abandons family these days. Then my grandmother got involved, asking why I was being so harsh to poor Emily. Even my cousin started texting, asking if it was true that I was refusing to help my sister. Emily finally called me herself, crying about how she just needed a chance to prove herself, and how the creative environment at our parents' house was killing her dreams. She promised it would only be for 3 months maximum, and she'd be the perfect house guest. She even said she'd help with groceries and cleaning. So last weekend, I spent 2 days dismantling my office, my monitors, my standing desk, my ergonomic chair, my sound panels. Everything went into the garage. I set up a makeshift workspace in the corner of my living room. It's not ideal. The lighting is harsh. There's no privacy for calls, and my back is already killing me from using a dining chair. Emily moved in on Monday. She arrived with 7 boxes of art supplies, 3 suitcases, and what looked like an entire apartment's worth of stuff. Watching her set up in my office, sorry, her room was painful. She immediately started rearranging everything, taking down my certificates and awards to make room for her inspiration board. The first red flag came Tuesday morning. I had a 7 a.m. call with clients in Singapore. I'd warned Emily the night before, asking her to keep quiet during the call. I'm in my living room trying to present quarterly projections when I hear music blasting from upstairs. Not just any music, some kind of experimental electronic stuff with heavy bass that made my makeshift setup vibrate. I had to mute myself, run upstairs, and knock on the door. Emily answered in her pajamas, looking confused. "Oh, were you on a call? I'm just getting in the creative zone. This is when I do my best work." It was 7:15 a.m. I explained again that I have scheduled calls throughout the day. She rolled her eyes and said, "Fine, I'll use headphones, but creativity doesn't follow a corporate schedule, James." Wednesday, I discovered she'd been using my high-end color-calibrated monitor that I'd forgotten to move. When I went to retrieve it, she acted like I was stealing from her. "But the color accuracy is perfect for my digital art. Can't you just use a regular monitor? That monitor cost $1,200. Thursday, I came home from running errands to find her in the living room using my workspace to spread out some massive painting project. There was paint on my keyboard paint. When I asked her to clean it up, she said she needed the natural light and that I wasn't using it anyway since I've been out. But Friday was the real kicker. I had an important presentation, the kind that could lead to a promotion. I'd been preparing for weeks. I'd asked Emily to please keep it quiet between 2 to 4 p.m. I even offered to buy her lunch at that trendy cafe downtown she likes if she'd just go out during that time. I'm halfway through my presentation discussing architecture diagrams with a VP of engineering when Emily starts up the blender in the kitchen. Not once, not twice, 4 times. She was making some kind of green juice cleanse because her creative energy was blocked. I apologized profusely to my team, played it off as construction noise, but I could see my manager's expression. The VP made a joke about the challenges of remote work, but I knew how unprofessional it looked. After the call, I confronted Emily. Her response, "God, James, you're so uptight. Maybe if you had some creative outlets instead of just staring at code all day, you'd understand that inspiration doesn't wait. Also, I'm out of oat milk. Can you pick some up, the barista kind? Not the cheap stuff. It's been 5 days." 5 days. I called my mother to vent, and she said I was being dramatic. "She's just settling in. You need to be more patient. Remember, she's building her career. A little noise won't kill you." I'm typing this from a coffee shop because Emily decided 3 p.m. on a Friday was the perfect time to practice her multimedia installation, which apparently involves speakers at full volume and her jumping around to feel the space. 3 months. She said 3 months. It's been less than a week and I'm already losing my mind. Update 2 posted 1 month later. I know it's been a while since my last update, and honestly, I've been too exhausted and frustrated to write, but I need to vent before I completely lose it. Emily has been living here for 6 weeks now. Let me break down what my life has become. The career building. In 6 weeks, Emily has completed exactly 1 paying project, a logo, for her friend's Instagram boutique that paid $50. $50. Meanwhile, she's turned my entire house into her personal art studio. There's literally not a single room that doesn't have some of her work in progress, cluttering it up. She wakes up around noon, makes elaborate breakfast that uses every dish in my kitchen, then spends about an hour photographing it for her Artist's Journey Instagram. Then she'll do yoga in the living room while I'm trying to work, followed by a 3-hour inspiration gathering session, which looks suspiciously like scrolling through Pinterest. The equipment situation. Remember my monitors? She's now using both of them because she needs dual screens for proper digital art creation. When I bought a new monitor for myself with my own money, obviously, she asked if she could borrow my good keyboard because hers doesn't have the right creative feel. I said no. She told our mother I was sabotaging her career. Last week, I caught her trying to move my ergonomic chair from the garage into her room. Her excuse. Her back hurts from hunching over her art. My back hurts from working at the dining table. Emily, the client situation. I've had to apologize for interruptions during calls 16 times. 16. My manager, Kevin, finally had a one-on-one with me last week about maintaining professional standards while working remotely. He suggested I might want to consider a co-working space. When I calculate the cost, it would be $400 per month, so I'm essentially paying $400 per month for my sister to squat in my home office. The financial audacity. This is where it gets really good. Emily apparently told our mother that she's been buying her own groceries. What she didn't mention is that she's been using my credit card for her grocery delivery orders. She memorized the number from when I let her order pizza one time. When I confronted her, she said she thought I wouldn't mind since it's just food and she's contributing to the household. Her contribution. She bought organic dragon fruit and $30 worth of specialty teas for herself. I changed my card number. She cried to our mother about how I'm financially abusing her during her vulnerable career building phase. The space invasion. My living room workspace has slowly been pushed into a smaller and smaller corner. Her art supplies have multiplied like rabbits. She needs the coffee table for her sketches. She needs the couch area for her larger canvases. She needs the good corner with natural light for color accuracy. I'm now working from a TV tray in the corner by the stairs. A TV tray. The social situation. Emily has discovered that my house is the perfect place to host her creative collective. Apparently, she's met other artists online, and now they come over twice a week for collaboration sessions. These involve drinking wine, talking about their artistic vision, and creating absolutely nothing of monetary value. Last Tuesday, I had to present to a client while 520-sums in the next room debated whether ultramarine blue was more authentic than deep blue. The breaking point. Yesterday was my birthday. I'm 33 now. You know what? Emily got me a painting of my own house that she made while living rent-free in my house using my art supplies. Yes, she's been ordering those on my Amazon account too. My mother called to wish me happy birthday and spent the call telling me how proud she was that I was supporting Emily's dreams and how the painting showed real growth in her technique. When I mentioned very carefully that Emily's 3-month deadline was approaching, my mother sighed and said, "James, success doesn't follow a timeline. You can't rush art." The morning incident. This morning was the final straw. I had a 6 a.m. call with our Australian team about a critical system failure. Emily knew about it. I'd reminded her 3 times yesterday and even put a note on her door. I'm on the call. We're in crisis mode trying to figure out why half our servers are down when Emily stumbles into the living room in her robe, sees me on my call and starts making smoothie in the kitchen anyway. But that's not the worst part. She then comes over while I'm unmuted and says loudly, "James, we're out of almond butter. Can you add it to the grocery list? Oh, and I need more canvases, the large ones." My Australian colleague actually laughed. My manager did not. After the call, I told Emily she needs to start looking for other housing. Her response, "Wow, James, I can't believe you're kicking me out just as my career is taking off. I guess some people just don't understand what it takes to be an artist." Her career is taking off. Where, in what universe I called my mother? Huge mistake. She's now threatening to reconsider her will if I kick Emily out. She said I'm being cruel and that family homes should have open doors. She also mentioned that Emily's been too stressed to create sellable work because she's worried I resent her presence. I'm sitting in my car writing this because Emily is doing a live stream painting session in my living room, and apparently my typing is aggressive and disrupting her creative flow. 6 weeks. It's been 6 weeks and I've aged 10 years. My work is suffering. My back is destroyed. My bank account is lighter by about $2,000 in groceries, art supplies, and various necessities Emily has charged. But I'm the bad guy for not understanding art. Update 3 posted 2 months later. It's been 2 months since my last update, and I genuinely didn't know if I should even write this because I'm so exhausted from the whole situation. But I committed to updating. So here we are. Emily is still here. It's been over 4 months now. 4 months. Remember how I told her she needed to find other housing? Well, that turned into a family war. My mother called every relative we have, painting me as some heartless monster who was throwing his baby sister onto the streets. I got calls from aunts, uncles, cousins I hadn't spoken to in years, all wanting to know why I was betraying family. The guilt was unbearable, so I caved again. I told Emily she could stay if she contributed to household expenses and respected my work hours. You can guess how that went. The contribution. Emily's contribution to household expenses has been exactly $127 over 2 months. She sold 1 commission piece to a friend and gave me half. She acted like she was handing over her life savings, making a big show of saying, "I know things are tight for you, so here's my part. Things aren't tight for me. Things are tight for her. But somehow I'm the one who needs help. The professional disaster. My work situation has deteriorated to the point where HR got involved. After multiple disruptions during client calls, my manager Kevin had to have a formal conversation with me about professional standards. The company offered to pay for a co-working space, but it would mean a notation in my file about failure to maintain appropriate remote work environment. I took the co-working space. I now leave my own house at 7 a.m. and return at 7 p.m. just to avoid dealing with Emily's creative process. The workspace elimination. Remember my TV tray corner? Even that's gone now. Emily decided the living room had the best energy flow for her large-scale pieces. I came home one day to find she completely rearranged my living room to create what she calls her studio annex. My work setup is now in my bedroom. My bedroom. I'm a 33-year-old senior software architect conducting international business meetings from a folding table next to my bed. The financial drain. I discovered Emily has been selling her art, just not reporting it. I found out through Instagram that she'd sold 5 pieces over the last 2 months. When I confronted her, she said the money went to investing in her artistic growth, new supplies online workshops, and a retreat in Sedona that she absolutely needed for inspiration, but she can't contribute to rent because she's not financially stable yet. The mother situation. Here's where it gets absolutely insane. Last week, my mother called with a proposal. She thinks I should permanently convert the office to Emily's room and create a proper creative space for her. Her reasoning. Real careers don't need home offices anymore. Everyone works from coffee shops these days, but artists need dedicated spaces for their craft. When I actually laughed out loud, she got offended. She said I was being elitist about what constitutes real work and that Emily's art was just as valid as my computer stuff. Computer stuff. My 6-figure career that required years of education and expertise is computer stuff. But wait, it gets better. My mother then suggested that since I'm doing so well, I should consider investing in family success by not charging Emily rent at all. Ever. She used the phrase family compound and talked about how in other cultures families live together and support each other. I reminded her that in those cultures, everyone contributes. The latest development. Yesterday, Emily informed me she's been accepted into a prestigious online artist mentorship. It costs $5,000. Guess who she expects to pay for it? When I said absolutely not, she didn't go to our mother. No, she went nuclear. She posted on Facebook about how her family doesn't support her dreams, how she's struggling to make it as an artist while living in an unstable situation, and how some people value money over family. The post got 147 likes and dozens of comments about how brave she is and how terrible it is that her family won't support her art. My cousin called me an hour later asking if I was really making Emily pay rent during her artistic awakening. The breaking point again this morning. I woke up to find Emily had sent out invitations for an art show she's hosting at my house. Without asking me, 50 people are apparently coming to view her work in 2 weeks. When I confronted her, she said it was a surprise thank you for all my support and that she wanted to show me how my investment in her was paying off. She'd already told our mother, who called it wonderful and said she'd help with the catering for an art show in my house that I didn't approve. Where I am now, I'm done. Completely, utterly done. I've started looking at apartments. Yes, you read that right. I'm looking at apartments to rent while I own a house because my sister has taken over my entire life. The sick part, it would actually be cheaper. Between the co-working space, the extra groceries, the utility bills from her being home all day, and the general loss of sanity paying rent somewhere else would save me money. My dad called yesterday. He said quietly, "I don't blame you if you need to make changes, son. This has gotten out of hand. Even he sees it, but he won't stand up to my mother." Emily now calls my office her studio exclusively. She refers to my guest room as the overflow space. She's talked about converting the garage into a sculpture workspace. 4 months. In 4 months, I've gone from having a perfect home office setup to working from a bedroom corner while paying for a co-working space so my sister can play artist on my dime. The family says I'm selfish. The family says I don't support Emily's dreams. The family says I'm too focused on money and success. You know what the family doesn't say? Thank you. Not one thank you for the free housing. Not one thank you for the patience. Not one thank you for appending my entire life so Emily can find herself. The art show is in 2 weeks. I'm going to let it happen. I'm going to smile, serve wine to strangers in my house, and listen to people talk about Emily's brave artistic journey. And then I'm done. I don't know what that looks like yet, but I'm done. Final update posted 4 months later. This will be my last update on this situation because I finally reached a resolution, though probably not the one many of you expected. It's been 8 months since Emily moved into my home office. 8 months of what I can only describe as the slow dissolution of my sanity, professional reputation, and financial stability. Let me catch you up on what's happened since the art show. The art show. The show went exactly as you'd expect. 50 people crammed into my house drinking wine and pretending Emily's mediocre paintings were profound statements on modern existence. My mother played hostess, telling everyone how proud she was that I was supporting emerging artists. The kicker, Emily sold 3 pieces for a total of $200. The catering alone cost me $300. During the show, several guests asked if I'd be hosting more events since my home was such a perfect gallery space. Emily, without missing a beat, said she was planning quarterly shows in my house. The escalation. After the art show, Emily took my lack of immediate protest as approval. She started booking more events, poetry readings, figure drawing sessions, something called a movement expression workshop that resulted in damaged hardwood floors. Each event was preceded by my mother calling to tell me how wonderful it was that I was becoming a patron of the arts in our community. I was working 60-hour weeks from a co-working space, coming home to find strangers in my house, critiquing installations made for my furniture. The legal consultation, I finally consulted a lawyer about eviction procedures. Given that Emily had been there over 6 months and was receiving mail, she had established residency. I would need to go through formal eviction proceedings, which would take months and definitely cause a family explosion. The lawyer also mentioned that if Emily could prove she'd been contributing to the household, remember that $127, it could complicate things further. The Thanksgiving disaster. My mother decided we should host Thanksgiving since my house was bigger. She didn't ask, she informed me. She also informed me that Emily would be creating a gratitude installation as the centerpiece. 23 family members came. During dinner, my mother made a speech about family supporting family and how proud she was that I'd opened my home to Emily's artistic journey. She actually said, "Some people might have been selfish, but James understands that success means lifting others up." My Aunt Linda suggested Emily should start an artist residency program in my house. My mother's eyes lit up like Christmas morning. That night, I found Emily researching how to register my address as an official art space for tax purposes. The financial reality. By month 7, I calculated that Emily's presence had cost me a $2,800 in co-working space fees, a $4,200 in additional groceries and household supplies, a $1,800 in utility bills. She runs the heat at 78 degrees for optimal creative comfort. A $600 in damaged property, $890 in art supplies she'd borrowed, $450 in streaming services she'd signed up for on my accounts, approximately $15,000 in lost productivity, and potential promotion nearly $26,000 in 7 months, not including the immeasurable cost to my mental health. The final straw. 3 weeks ago, my mother called with news. She'd been talking to Emily about her future, and they'd come up with a plan. Emily was going to start an online art teaching platform from my house. She'd already started promoting it as live from the studio. But here's the best part. My mother thought I should invest $10,000 to help Emily get proper equipment and marketing. After all, I'd been supporting her this long, and this would help her finally become independent. When I said no, my mother said the words that finally broke something in me. "I'm disappointed in you, James. I thought we raised you better than to abandon family when they're so close to success. Your father and I are considering updating our will to make sure family assets go to family members who understand what that means, the nuclear option." That night, I made a decision. I called my best friend Michael, who works in real estate. I put my house on the market quietly. No sign in the yard, private showings only. It sold in 6 days. Cash offer, quick close. I then found a 1-bedroom apartment in a building with excellent security, and this is important. A strict, no subletting, no extended guest policy. I signed the lease immediately. I told no one. The execution. 2 weeks ago, I came home with boxes. Emily was in the middle of teaching her first online art class using my living room as her backdrop. I started packing. She paused her class, came over, and asked what I was doing. I told her simply, "I sold the house. You have 30 days to relocate." The explosion was immediate. How could I? What about her studio? What about her students? What about family? I kept packing. She called our mother while I was still there. The screaming through the phone was audible from across the room. I was heartless. I was selfish. I was a disappointment to the family name. I kept packing. The aftermath. The last 2 weeks have been hell. I've received 47 calls from my mother, all unanswered. 23 text messages from various relatives calling me everything from selfish to evil. 14 Facebook posts about me. I'm now blocked by most of my extended family. 3 emails from Emily about the damage to her career. 1 certified letter from my mother stating I was no longer welcome at family events. But you know what else I have peace? I moved into my apartment last week. It's 900 square feet. My desk fits perfectly in the corner of the bedroom. It's quiet. It's clean. It's mine. My first morning here, I had a 7 a.m. call with clients. No blender, no music, no interruptions, just professional silence. My manager Kevin commented that I seemed more focused lately. The VP, who'd made jokes about my construction noise, mentioned he was impressed with my recent performance. The resolution. Yesterday, the house officially closed. Emily had to be out. My father called me last night, the first family member to contact me without screaming. He said Emily moved back home. She set up in their garage, calling it her rustic studio phase. She's already complained about the lighting and asked if they can renovate. He sounded tired. Really, really tired. Then he said something I didn't expect. You did what I should have done years ago. Don't let your mother or anyone else tell you different. Where things stand, I'm officially downed by 90% of my family. My mother has made it clear I'm not welcome at Christmas or any future family gatherings until I apologize to Emily for abandoning her dreams. Emily is telling anyone who listened that I sabotaged her artistic career right when she was about to break through. My house sold for $30,000 over asking price. Turns out houses with established home offices are in high demand. I'm sitting in my tiny apartment typing this on my properly positioned ergonomic keyboard, looking at my monitor that's exactly the right height in complete silence. I've never been happier. Lessons learned. A family isn't an excuse for exploitation, and no is a complete sentence. As sometimes the only way to win is to leave the game entirely. A peace of mind is worth more than any inheritance, as some people will take exactly as much as you let them. To those who said I should have stood firm from the beginning, you were right. To those who said it would never get better unless I took drastic action, you were right. To those who said family would guilt me forever, you were absolutely right. But I'm free now. And if that makes me selfish, then I'm finally okay with being selfish. Emily still posts about her artistic journey on Instagram. Last week, she posted about how true artists persist despite adversity with a picture of her garage studio. I liked the post. It's the pettiest thing I've done in this whole saga, and I regret nothing. Thanks to everyone who followed this journey. May your home offices remain your own, and may your boundaries remain firm. Edit. Since several people have asked, yes, I'm in therapy now. Turns out a lifetime of being the responsible one while your sibling is enabled takes a toll. My therapist's first words after hearing the story were, "So you literally sold your house to set a boundary. That's actually impressive." Also, for those worried I'm all alone, I'm not. I have great friends who've been incredibly supportive. Turns out the family you choose is sometimes better than the family you're born into. And no, I don't regret selling the house. Best decision I ever made.